thanks for coming back to my channel this week. My name is Danny, and this week we're making a Fizzgig from the Dark Crystal. Oh yeah, I have loved these guys since I was a wee little one. And the Dark Crystal has since re-emerged on Netflix. We watched the entire series. It was amazing, and my favorite part was the Fizzgigs. They're so cute. I found one chick online who had a really fantastic tutorial. I'll put her link in the description below. But that's basically the tutorial that I'm going to try to follow. I bought a styrofoam ball. This used to be one ball. And I had Pat cut it in half and then cut those halves again into a quarter. I don't need this piece. I'm going to use these pieces right here. The styrofoam ball that I found is a little bit bigger than the one that she used. They had a smaller one and a bigger one. They didn't have the size that she used, so I opted for the bigger one because the bigger the better, right?
Take your foam sphere and trace them out on some brown flat foam. Go ahead and cut those out, and you're also going to create a half circle shape. Cut that out. That's actually going to be the thumb hole for the part of the puppet. Take your brown circles and trace them close together on some red felt. Connect those. This is going to be the main part of the mouth that you see. We're also going to cut out a shape for the back of the mouth. It looks like a heart without the point on the bottom. Glue the brown foam pieces to the sphere. There will be some hangover when you glue the brown foam on, but that's where you're going to put that thumb hole. This is the bottom jaw of the puppet. For the top jaw of the puppet, you're going to glue the red felt in a crescent shape so your hand can slide in there. Glue it entirely on the bottom jaw.
Oh no! No, it's crooked! Come off! No, it's crooked! Ah! Oh no! I don't know what to do! Whoa. Alright, that's enough. Gonna add some more on here. Right? Oh no! Oh my goodness. This, right? That? That back mouth is a little bit too big. Even though I messed up, this isn't too bad.
I added some hot glue to the back of the mouth because the space was too wide. At this point, you can also start to glue in the back shape of the mouth for the throat, and then use your glue gun to create a texture on the roof of the mouth. Measure your fur around the sphere, and you're going to make it 17 inches long so you can cover your arm when you're puppeting it.
There's a special way to cut fur. Clip it along that seam. That's satisfying. And that's so we don't cut the fur.
With your hot glue gun, you're going to glue the fur around the sphere. Make sure you're getting it to the edge of the mouth and do your best to follow the red felt lines, not the styrofoam ball. I made that mistake, and I think that's why I'm having jaw problems, as you will later see. So try to get that glue and the fur to follow the red felt.
So that's all the way around. Now I can sew the edges of these like she was talking about. See, this is the kind of stuff I can sew no problem. Straight line all day.
I stitched a straight line as far up as I could, leaving about 2 inches opened by the edge of the jaw.
Turn this inside out, I hope. Oh wow.
Kind of thing.
He can't open his mouth. This mouth's all up. Oh, I don't know. Alright, so there's a few things wrong with my Fizzgig. This mouthpiece is not very supportive, so I am just gluing extra foam here to make this piece thicker, and I'm going to glue another thumb hole on it that's just a little bit longer than the original one I had. Like I said, I think it just needs more stability, and I'm just kind of making this up as I go, so whatever. Stay tuned till the end to see how it works out. Maybe it'll be a total abomination. Maybe it'll be the best looking Fizzgig you've ever seen. I just want it to be a little more stable. Ow! hot. Ow! It's like creeping up from somewhere. Jeez. We are going to work on the legs and the tail. Fizzgig legs.
For his feet, I just got some yellow felt and just created a little foot shape. I should have made a template first, but I didn't, so make sure you make a template. I repeated that process 3 other times for a total of 8 feet. I folded my fur in half and used sewing pins to make the general shape of the tail that I wanted. Using the pins as a guide, I sewed along the outer edge of it, then removed the pins and trimmed it up.
Whenever you make fur products, you have to go back through. It's better with a comb, but you have to go back through and pull that fuzz out, or you're going to be able to see the seams. It just looks weird. I'm having a bit of trouble with how this is supposed to go. There's a hole on each side of his jaw. So when I put my hand in like this and I open it, I mean, you can't really see it, right? But sometimes like this little piece of fur sticks out right here and you can see it on the inside. So I want to try to figure out what to do with that. The first thing I'm going to do today though is work on his teeth. Or her teeth. I don't know if it's a him or a her yet.
I made a template using a sheet of paper so I could lay my clay gums on. That way I get the most accurate shape. Roll out a tube and then pat it down once you get it on the template. Score 14 spaces for the teeth. In total, I made 35 large teeth and 12 small teeth. I made extra teeth in case they break and chip. The small teeth are actually for the back of the throat.
This white Crayola clay is a no-go. It is very fragile, very crumbly. This is definitely like clay for a kid's project that you're probably just going to throw in the trash after they make it, because this has been drying for 4 days. And so off camera, I used the exact same process. I just used a different clay, Fimo Basic Air. Fizzgig is still at the same stage. I worked the fur like around his face and mouth a little bit. There are some holes back here, but I'm gonna like tuck this stuff down. But once you are puppeting him, it's not noticeable. Keep calling it a him. I guess it's gonna be a him. I also hand stitched the feet. I did not think that I was gonna do a very good job with my sewing machine going in and out these little toes. So I hand stitched all 4 feet and I just put very little stuffing in them. I'm thinking I'm only gonna do 2 feet though and a tail. So I have all these pieces of fur cut out. They are not even, they are not perfect. You're not even gonna see them. I'm gonna sew them to the underside of this, and when I put the puppet on my arm, then this is gonna slide up and his little feet are gonna hang out. And I think that's what I'm gonna do with this tail too. I think the tail's gonna go up here, so then it's gonna hang off, you know, to the side when I'm holding. All right, I haven't flipped this inside out yet, but I hand stitched it. Oh my Fizzgig, oh my Fizzgig, oh my little Fizzgig. That's cool. So now, when I puppet him, you can see the tail, you can see his little hands. I think that's kind of perfect. See you tomorrow. Got some E6000 to glue the teeth in with. Oh, I also cut out a tongue shape. 2 pieces. I'm gonna sew it together, you know, around the edge, stuff it, just give it a little more oomph. And then I'm gonna put a stitch line down the center. Not all the way, but just midway. First, we're gonna get these teeth in here.
Take your E6000 glue and put it on the underside of the gums. You wanna let that set for about 10 minutes, and I actually had to break the back like 1.5 inches of each side of those teeth just so they would form with the puppet. Sew along the edge of the tongue, leaving a space open so you can put just a little bit of stuffing in it, and then you want to sew a line down the center midway. Take your E6000, put a thin strip on the back and glue it under the throat. For the feet, I took a mixture of some browns and blacks and painted over the yellow felt. You could still see some of it coming through, which I like. I think it adds more dimension or depth or whatever. I also mixed some pink, black, and red together, and I'm going to use that to paint the hot glue that I put on the roof of the mouth for the texture. I'm also adding paint to the red felt where the hot glue isn't, painting the back of the throat, the uvula, and using some pinks and reds for the tongue. Again, I'm just trying to give the mouth more definition and texture. Next, you're going to take a piece of fur that's probably about 1.5 inches wide, and it's going to measure all the way around the jaw. You're going to cut out 2 of these strips and glue it to the bottom and top jaw to cover that gum line.
We are going to paint the teeth today.
Starting with white acrylic paint, I paint the front and the back of the teeth individually. I'm going to let those dry and then start to work on the gums, which I use a mixture of pinks, browns, and reds. After the white paint is dry on the teeth, I go back over them with a sponge, mixing up some off-white and some tan. These little white teeth have already been painted, so I'm going to take some E6000, dip the bottoms in, and glue them around the back of the throat.
Next, we're gonna work on his little feet. And what we're gonna do with these is take acrylic nails. I'm gonna cut little claws out of them.
After cutting out 8 claws from the acrylic nails, I dip the bottoms of them in E6000 and put them on the tips of the toes.
All right, it's been a few days since I've been working on my Fizzgig. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Oh my God, he's so cute. This will be it. This is the final day.
I bought regular critter eyes from Joann's and painted the yellow on them to make them a little bit brighter. I cut off the back so they would be flat. I did the same thing for the nose. Here I'm using E6000 and brown foam, and I'm gluing on eyelids. I had to hold these for about 10 minutes before they were set. I'm trimming down the fur around the face where I'm going to glue his eyes and his nose. It's just going to make it a lot easier to get those glued down to shorter fur versus longer fur. And again, using that trusty E6000 to glue down the eyes and the nose. Spreading it around with a toothpick, and also using a toothpick for any cleanup that you might need around the eyes and the nose. I am adding extra fur around his face and his mouth, and by extra fur I mean cream and tan colored yarn that I combed out with a pet comb. I'll put a link in the description below on how you can do that. I'm taking the advice of the original tutorial and using Elmer's glue to adhere the yarn into the fur. It dries clear, so it works out really well.
Well, here's the Fizzgig. He turned out way better than I thought he was going to. So cute. This took a lot of time.
I know you didn't intend for it, but I like that he has an underbite.
I know. That's one thing I would change if I could, because his mouth is supposed to be a little more closed. But
I like it.
He's super cute. He's bulldogging it. He's cool.
He is very cool.
Well guys, that's it for this week's video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. And until next week guys, keep on marching to the beat of your own drum. Peace.